The Steam Machine just crash landed on the market at nearly double the price of a more performant console. Truly, it was a dark day for PC gamers. But that was yesterday, and today is a new day. So rather than carry an irrational grudge towards an inanimate object, we're gonna move on. And okay, PC parts, they're not as affordable as we'd like right now, but if we start with the price of Valve's latest box, which is $1,050 US, we're gonna build a PC that dunks the performance of the GameCube without, hopefully, giving up too many of the creature comforts that make it so unique. Although we will be giving up some. For example, at first glance, our CPU, the Ryzen 5 7500F, looks nearly identical to Valve's. 6 Zen 4 cores, 12 threads, and even similar boost clocks. But the devil's in the details, and to keep power consumption and noise extremely low, Valve chose a more expensive mobile CPU, meaning that our CPU alone draws nearly as much power as the entire Steam Machine in a light gaming workload. With that said though, we're still talking 65 watts, which I don't think is a major concern for most desktop users. And the same goes, hopefully, for size. To find a motherboard, we fired up Newegg, filtered by B850 chipset and Wi-Fi, and then sorted by price. The PC hardware industry is kind of struggling with sales volumes right now. So if you shop around, you can actually find some pretty desperate looking pricing on motherboards, like this MATX ASRock board with Wi-Fi for $130 US, or if you're willing to go even bigger to full-sized ATX, we tracked down this board with Wi-Fi 7 for just $130 US, including shipping on Newegg Canada. What a freaking deal. We didn't go with that one though, since most folks trying to build something more console-like are probably gonna go a bit smaller than that. So we grabbed an MATX board for our demo build here. The exact model's not too important. It doesn't impact performance much these days, so don't overthink it. Just pick a motherboard that has the I/O and the features that work best with your budget. No matter what you choose though, it is worth noting your system will be larger than the Steam Machine, but it should offer greater expandability with a socket for future CPUs, a PCI Express Gen 5 slot for future GPUs, not to mention extra slots for both storage drives and for other add-in cards. This expandability gives us the ability to match Valve's many antenna approach for Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, and their Steam controller in the future, but we opted not to spend our budget on dedicated cards, and we're just gonna stick with our onboard Wi-Fi. Now for the most painful part, RAM. Once again, we filtered and sorted by price, choosing a dual channel 16 gig kit of DDR5 running at 6,000 megatransfers per second CL36. This may be a controversial choice, but hear me out. While DDR4 can be had for less than half of the price of DDR5, RAM is just 1/3 of the platform Triforce, and we found that while DDR4 motherboards can be had for cheap, the AM4 CPUs that go in them are in such high demand that brand new pricing for them is just not that attractive, especially when you consider their last generation performance. Now, if we were scrapyard warring this and we were buying secondhand, like we have with our previous console killer machines, DDR4 would likely have been the better choice. But we've seen your feedback that many of you would prefer if we do these with all new hardware. And in this case, we felt that due to the pricing of the Steam Machine, that was doable. Just like it's doable to tell you about our sponsor.
App Control. It's a supercharged task manager that lets you scroll back in time to see which of your apps spiked your CPU, drained RAM, maxed out your GPU, or pushed your system temperature too far. It's free, and you can grab it now at appcontrol.com.
Lime Day is back, and it starts tomorrow. But you can get early access right now just by joining the Float Goats over on Floatplane.com. Now, I don't want to spoil every deal that's coming this week, but I will tell you that we are going hard this year on bundles, like this one for a fully loaded commuter backpack. And for today only, you can get a Precision Screwdriver Kit Pro in our Floatplane exclusive colorway for $20 off. Now is the perfect time to score some deals, especially if you're shopping with us for the first time, because we're gonna throw you a little welcome to the family gift, an instant $10 off coupon for any purchase over 50 bucks. Sign up for Floatplane today to unlock some exclusive behind the scenes content and get in early on some of the spectacular savings for this year's Lime Day. All you gotta do is click the link in the description down below. With storage prices being as high as they are right now, I think a lot of folks are going to be looking at the 512 gig Steam machine today, and then plan to upgrade that in the future once things cool down. That seems wise. So we went spelunking for the cheapest ½ terabyte we could find with a warranty from a reputable company, which this week happened to be an AData Legend for $85. Would I rather have something with a DRAM cache and or a more modern PCIe Gen 4 interface? Yes. Yes, I would. Either of those things would give our drive a longer, more productive life. But for gaming, this is hopefully going to allow us to wait out the storm. Continuing today's theme, to find a case, we sorted MATX cases by price and were pleasantly surprised. Zalman used to be a mainstay in the enthusiast air and water cooling space, but in recent years has made a name for themselves offering up exceptional value on cases. And the Cubix G here is no exception. $30 for USB-C, 3 included fans, and 2 tempered glass panels? Desperation pricing strikes again. And the good news is if Zalman regains their sanity by the time you're shopping, there's also the good old-fashioned Cooler Master Q300L for just $10 more. It is a worse case than the Zalman one, but it can be reliably found for like 40 bucks, so happy case shopping. For our part, we're just going to be throwing our parts onto a test bench since the case doesn't impact performance at all. Our cooler is a bit of a tricky one. See, that ASRock board that we highlighted before actually came with a free Cooler Master Hyper 212, but then by the time we actually filmed this, that offer had expired. So the budget for it is kind of Schrodinger's $20. Until you go shopping for yourself, you're both spending it and not spending it. Either way, if you don't get a Hyper 212 for free, there are a lot of other great options in this $20 price range from brands like Vetru, Sama, and Thermalright. I know that it can make shopping a little bit more complicated, but that free cooler is not the only place that we saved money by shopping deals. On top of the low cost of the parts we chose, we saved an extra $50 by targeting combos. Now, there are trade-offs to this approach. Sometimes it can be a better value to buy all of your parts from different retailers one by one. But other times, it's better to just bundle up and send it, even if you don't get quite exactly the thing you wanted. Speaking of not quite the thing we wanted, sadly, we didn't find any great deals on a power supply. So we budgeted about $65 for you to get something that's not completely bunk and that will accommodate some of the upgrades that our custom PC allows here. If you're looking for a power supply, just find something that's a good price and then cross-reference against the lab's website or one of these super handy PSU tier lists. We found that this MSI Meg A650BN had a rating of C, which is not great, but it is technically a pass. You know what's going to do more than pass though? This GPU. The Sapphire Pulse Radeon 9060 XT 16 gig edition features double the VRAM of the Steam machine. It has a whole generation newer architecture with vastly improved ray tracing, and we got it for $430, which is a lot of money. I would have actually loved to be able to recommend an Intel Arc B580 for $290. But while Valve is working on seamless operation with Intel cards, for now, SteamOS works best with AMD. If you're ready to venture outside of SteamOS, Bazzite and CatchyOS are popular distros that can offer a better experience with a wider range of hardware, but we're trying to build a Steam machine killer, not a DIY Linux gaming machine. With that last component installed, overall, we're looking really good right now. We've got a faster CPU with bigger caches, twice as much VRAM on our GPU. We've got more expansion. I mean, as the great philosopher and poet DJ Khaled said, All I do is win, 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 no matter what. But, okay, sometimes I do take big fat L's, and there are a couple that we've got to talk about here. Without Valve's specialized hardware, we are not getting support for HDMI CEC. That means no automatic synchronization between my console here and my TV, audio system, etc., etc. Also, while I do benefit from Valve's quick resume feature, and I can wake the system up from a USB peripheral, what I can't do is power on from a Steam controller at this time. Oh right, and of course, for better or for worse, we had to spec it, build it, and now we have to configure it to get the most out of it. And if it doesn't boot, we're on the hook for figuring out why. But it will, right?
Yeah.
Everything's showing up. All we gotta do is activate Expo, save, and we should fire up right into SteamOS. Now it's time for our side-by-side comparison. David will be gaming on the Steam machine, and I will be gaming on the Vapor contraption. Here we go.
Wait, you're gonna need a controller, and thankfully, Valve gave us a ton of room in our budget.
Right.
Yes.
It's not cheap.
It's $100 standalone, $70 if you get it bundled with your console. So for $65, I'm going with the Vader 5 Pro, a controller that I really enjoy. It's $80 MSRP, but $65 on the street. This thing rocks.
Yeah, this is the Goku skin one, but you can save $10 by going with the black one. It doesn't have trackpads. I'm sorry, I don't use them. I don't mind that.
How could you?
What do we want to start with?
Let's start with Final Fantasy VII Remake.
Okay, let's do it. Right out of the gate in Final Fantasy VII Remake, it is not close. You're within the 8 gigs of VRAM of the Steam machine, but that GPU is just plain not as powerful.
This is a fairly well optimized section of the game too. I was seeing drops to 30, sub 30 sometimes in other parts.
Both systems are running high 4K with no upscaling though, so in fairness to the Steam machine, it's not like it can't run the game, it just doesn't run it as well. Let's move over to something that we can sort of play around with the settings on a little bit more. How about 007? This is gonna be the apples to apples comparison. 4K medium quality, FSR set to quality, motion blur off. That's another big fat win for the Vapor contraption. This is not close.
No.
I mean, I'm running 50% faster.
Well, I'm curious how low my settings need to go to match your performance.
Sure.
I'm gonna leave that low, low.
Okay, come on, that's gotta be enough. That's gotta be enough.
You think that's enough?
That's gotta be enough. That's not enough. Wait, hold on. I think we're right on par now. In fairness, that's a pretty decent looking game at low settings. But you can really see how they're using some cheats, right? There's a lot more sort of Vaseline smear, cinematic, out of focus on yours, when actually that's just clearly a hack for the lower view distance and lower texture quality. And yeah, especially if we look out over here. Oh yeah, I've got way more sharpness in the details on the hills.
It's certainly playable on this side. But
yeah.
If I had to pick between the two, it's no contest.
How's our main character? Because that tends to be where they'll cheap out last. Yeah.
Not too different. You're sharper because you have more internal resolution.
Yeah, but it's not by that much. No. This is a clear win, but one that I don't think is going to be that impactful for a lot of gamers. Oh, this would be an interesting one for us to put the machines to sleep and then resume. 2, 1, go. Oh.
All right. Oh, I'm doing pretty good.
Holy shnikes.
Oh, you're doing really good.
This is a, no offense, markedly smoother experience than what I'm looking at over there.
That being said, I'm still above 100 frames. I would never say this is anything but a good experience.
I mean, here, touch my stick.
Huh. Oh, that's better. That's smoother, yeah.
That doesn't even look like 100 FPS to me.
No,
I wonder if the sleep and resume didn't work properly. It's ironic. I was expecting the Steam machine to actually have an advantage in sleep and resume, but it works perfectly on here. Other than that, I can't wake it up with my controller. Check this out. By the time David troubleshoots this, I can probably put my machine to sleep and off. and wake it. And I'm back in game and running smoothly.
Way smoother. Oh, I thought this was gonna be like the one time I got to be like, Steam Machine's a really good use case for indie games. And I think it still is. It's just not as good of a use case.
Yeah, wait, you're locked at 60 now.
Yeah.
What the heck?
Maybe it's worth doing a reboot.
Yeah. What? Now I'm getting 250 frames.
Okay, that's more like what I would expect.
Me too.
Way
So
smoother.
we may have found a bug. Sometimes when the quick resume borks, it seems to bork more than just your resume speed.
Yeah.
It's good to know that it can get better. And this is pre-release software. I expect Valve to fix it, but.
But they're not going to be able to fix this performance delta. Oh, yeah. Yeah, you have over 200 frames per second, but yeah, I have over 300 frames per second.
Both will provide a very good indie gaming experience.
Some just better than others. This is a game that I'm expecting to look a lot better on mine.
I fully agree.
All right. Here we are. Oh, yikes.
Neither of these look very good.
I mean, some of them look more or less gooder than others.
Well, you have much more performance headroom to if you wanted to tweak. I'm barely hanging on above 30.
While it is clear that for the same price, you can build a much more powerful PC than the Steam Machine for gaming, you will be making some compromises. Some can be addressed, like we could have cut down our GPU slightly for a better quality SSD. But some of them can't be addressed, like the complete lack of CEC control. And for some people, those conveniences are more important than raw performance. And for some people, they just can't live without this segue to our sponsor.
App Control. It's like Task Manager, except it actually does what you expect it to do and can help you better understand what operations are running on your computer. This is thanks to it being built by a team of power users that were fed up with Task Manager failing to offer any meaningful help. It gives you a scrollable history for CPU, GPU, RAM, and temperature, and shows you which apps launched or tapped into your mic, cam, or location. And if you're wondering what gobbledyslop.exe is, App Control can even tell you in plain English what each thing running on your computer is, so you know if it's safe to end a process or not. You can even block misbehaving apps or block entire publishers. I'm looking at you, unnamed security program that weaseled its way onto my PC again. The folks over at App Control are active in their forum and Discord and love interacting with their community. So get started for free today over at appcontrol.com.
If you guys enjoyed this video, hey, go check out our full review of the Steam Machine where we dived a little bit deeper into the performance as well as some of the features that make this machine legitimately completely unique on the market.